Hello, this is Fires. Welcome back. This is Sci Fi Hallway, NE 150, Module 5. And we are going to, this is part 2. So, what we're going to do is we always want to duplicate our objects and then put them in a layer. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. A lot of times, and we talked about this before, and I think I've talked to some of you via email, is that sometimes when you add selected objects, it doesn't go into the layer and if it's in another layer. So you might have to go in here and empty the layer or delete the layer. Okay, delete the layer and then go ahead and try it again if that happens to you. So I'm going to click on this object here, these three pieces. I'm going to go Control D, click and open up a layer, and I'm just going to type in low. Let's just put original, and I'm going to go original A. There you go. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one right here. I'm going to do Control D and then open up a new layer, and that's going to be original B, and so on and so forth. There we go. And let's do the same thing. Let's turn that one off. Original C, and the last one is going to be our trim piece. Control D, and let's put that in a new layer. Alright, so we got these original pieces, A, B, C, D, so we're not going to touch those. And if we make duplicates of these and start messing with those, because those are originals, we're just going to keep those. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And any changes you make sure that your base is exactly what you want. Now if it isn't, then you're going to have to make changes throughout the whole entire section. So if I were to make this whole thing taller, I would have to select all these pieces and go to Vertex Mode. Now I have to go actually into Component Mode. When I do that, you notice what happened here. So let's say if I want to move vertices and I want all the vertices to move in all the objects. Well, the only way to do that is to go into Selection Mode, hit the Q key, and select all the pieces. Okay, so let's go into Object Mode, and I'll show you how that works. Let's select all the pieces in Object Mode up here. You can see that. And then I'm going to go in here, right-click over into Vertex. Now, it's only going to give me vertices for this. Now, if I click on this, though, click on that, that allows me to select all of these pieces and move them together, which is really outstanding, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to have a height now of, instead of 8, something like 10 feet. Okay, I just don't think there's enough height there, so I'm going to go ahead and select all these pieces here and move it up. Okay, I'm going to move it up to 10 feet. Right now it's 8 feet, so I'm going to move it up to 10 feet, something like that. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and go all the way up to 10 feet so the ceiling is exactly 10 feet. There we go. So I don't want to mess with anything else. Now the thing is, if I do that and make changes, you can see that then these don't change with it, right? So that's kind of a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. Okay. And I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to do all of these at one time. Even the originals, because we've already done that work. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, right? Select everything. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to right click over it and go to Vertex, and it's just going to do that one because that's the first one I selected. But then I'm going to go in here and click on component mode, and that does everything. So now let's go in here, maybe to the side view, hit the 4 key so you can see all the way through, and select everything. Okay, and now we're going to make these changes throughout the whole entire section of this object, right? Okay, so we're going to go from here, and we're going to add 2 more feet to the object like that. And don't worry if you're not perfect this way, that's okay. We're okay that way. Get as close as you can to the grid. Okay, I even go in here and I can even get really close. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick here. Okay, so I'm going to use the nudge tool. So let's get right up here, and let's say we're a little bit too high, right? It's hard to tell. Let me get zoomed in. And I'm going to hold the Alt, and I'm going to hit the arrow key down, and it will nudge it 1 pixel at a time. Okay, I'm holding down the Alt key, and I'm hitting the down arrow. Okay, that's next to your control on the right hand side. And look how close I'm getting. Look at that. So that's pretty spot on. Alright, so I just moved that 10 feet up, or 2 feet up. And that feels a little better with this, right? Okay. That looks a little bit better. I like that. And then what I'm going to do is, I like this bottom part, right? Okay, everything's changed now with that. I like that bottom part right here. Except for this part, I might move the bottom part up a little bit and then move this part up a little bit. So I'm going to go to this lower section now, right here. And I'm going to move that up just a tad. Okay, and then I'm going to move this up quite a bit, like that. So now I feel like that looks more like this. Okay. Now it all depends on what you're looking for, right? As far as the look, and if you're going by this reference, this is a little bit closer than what we had before. Okay, and we could probably even bring it out a little bit more, maybe to that point. But I think that's okay. I think that's good. Alright, so when I click off, now you notice that everything has scaled up the same, and we've got a little more room now to play with up here, and I think that looks pretty good. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is turn off the visibility, right? And I'm going to check that by clicking on the object, go to object mode, click on object mode under the main menu bar, and move that out of the way. And you can see that if I just click off and click on, that I should select, even if there's something underneath, that's how you can tell. And I'm going to prove that. Okay, so we're going to go click on original A. So if I click on that, I should see that underneath. There you go. See? So I'm going to turn that back off. So I know the layers are working now at this point. Okay? Alright. And I'm going to move that down just to make sure nothing's underneath there. And a lot of times I just do this because I know that sometimes the layer editor doesn't work that great. So, alright, so now we're going to go in here. We made some subtle changes, and now it's time to add the detail that we see in here. And that's going to take some time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the strip right here. So I think about this modularly, that this piece right here, this column will be this one right here. This guy right here, between these two, will be this one right here. Okay? So I need to work on those. Okay? Will the middle piece kind of come down a little bit? If so, the floor piece won't, but this middle piece might. So I still want them separated. So I'm going to go ahead in here, and I got the original, so I'm going to go in here and start working on this. So I'm going to kind of isolate it. Now, some of you this might be beneficial to have it go all the way through. Okay, so I might just do this for now. Okay, I'll show you. Sometimes I go back and forth, but I'll give you an example of what I'm going to do here. I'm going to combine it. With that combined now, I got vertices that are not welded together. That means that when you extract, we have two objects now with their own vertices right here in the edges. So when I combined it, this one has two vertices that are occupying the same space. Again, we cannot have two vertices occupying the same space. We have to merge them together. The same thing with the floor. Okay, because I separated them, it created a vertex on the end of this this plane right here. Now, if I combine them again, what happens is that those vertices are still there and they need to be welded together. Okay, so you can do this one at a time if you want to. Select those vertices and you can see that I've got two right there. You can see that right there. And when I go into Edit Mesh and Merge Center, that should take care of it. I'm going to hit the G key, okay, and the G key just remembers what you did the last tool. So is the Y. Y is the same way. The G key and the G key. All right. So when I click on it and I move it, then you know it worked. Don't marquee select. Just click on it. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and show you what happens if you don't do that. Okay. Let me see if I can see. Hit the G key. Whoops. There we go. See, that's not welded together. Okay. All right. So when I go out and I weld it, then I go into merge the center. Now when I just click on it. Look what happens. It goes with it because they're now merged together. That's really important. It's important what I'm going to do that those are merged together. If they're not, it won't work. Okay. So the idea is I want this detail all the way through the piece. Okay, so I'm going to click on this guy right here, and I'm going to go into selection mode and insert edge loop tool. And so I'm going to insert, and I'm just going to kind of follow what's going on here. You see there's some really cool detail that I want to add, and that's too far over. So I'm gonna hit the Q key and slide that edge. Okay, let's see if I can slide that edge. I'm gonna hold the middle mouse and slide it over a little bit. Now I'm gonna go hit the Q key again, go back into selection mode, and add a whoops. Oh, got it back again. Nope, I didn't. Selection mode, and we're gonna go back into edge loop and add this. Okay. Now you probably wondered what the heck I just clicked on. It's this vertex face. So if that happens to you, I just quickly missed it, and it's right next to the vertex. So just go back to selection mode to get out of it, and then you can go back into vertex, and it's not a big deal. If you see that, don't freak out. It's all good. All right. So there's our detail there. And so what I want to do is I might want to add that detail all the way up. But I don't want to add it to the floor. When I want to do something different with the floor. So now that I got those selected, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the floor, okay, or I can just click on this. But I'm going to go in here to face mode and go back into selection mode, and I'm going to go to face mode and just kind of select those and extract them, okay. Okay, get those extracted. There we go. And so that's a separate piece again, and this one isn't. So now I can go in here into face mode, okay, and I'm going to select this face here, okay. I probably just could go like this. There we go, and that'll bring all that together. And then I'm going to do Control Extrude, okay. This works out really good because at the top, if I just click on the arrow. Just kind of check the top out here. I'm going to move that in like that. Okay, look at that. Perfect. That looks great. Okay, and then click off. And there we go. So there's our detail for that piece right there. Alright, awesome. Alright, so there are some things we need to fix. Okay, so we got this end piece right here that we can just click on and delete that. We don't need that. And let's see what else we need to work on. I think that'll work. But I think what I want to do is I want to go to the edge mode on this one and just double click on it, and it goes all the way around. We don't want this to be taken care of here. We want to get rid of these. So hold down the control key as you deselect those. I want those deselected. And then at the bottom we've got some things we need to deselect too as well. So we don't want these selected. So make sure you deselect those. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and extrude that, and we're going to extrude that up. Okay, so those pieces will be extruded up. So I'm going to go Control E. Okay, and this time we're going to go up like that to create a lip. Okay, we want to give it quite a bit like that. There we go. Alright, something like that would work great. Maybe even a little bit more. Just like that. Just kind of add some depth to it. That should work. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and go to selection mode. And there's that part. And then the floor, this will be kind of fun on the floor because it's a separate piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the floor piece, and it's zeroed out. It's okay, it's zeroed out here. I'm going to hit the W key, and you can see that this is way over here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that centered pivot point, and that's this icon up here, as you guys know. So we got center pivot point up here, right below the shelf. We've got the delete by type history, and we got freeze transformation. Now I'm going to move that down. It's not a problem. Or we can just do this Control Z. But I want it in here, right? Okay. So I just want to move it down, so I can still see this one to kind of get an idea. Plus I want to turn on the wireframe on shaded so I can see my wireframe. Okay. So I'm going to select this face. Okay. Now we like the floors to be flat, so to give this depth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Control E, and I'm going to move this down, okay, like that, just to kind of give it more interest. Okay, alright, might even have like cables in there and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and just adds more interest to the object and how it's going to look. Now instead of doing this, I kind of changed my mind, and that's okay. We can always do that. I just think it'd be a little bit more fun to add this floor piece to have something a little bit different. So I'm going to go in here and follow this area here. I'm going to go in here and do a subdivide, or not subdivide, an edge loop. And I am going to hold the shift key. Let's see if that'll snap it. I won't really snap. But I'm going to add some interesting little detail here and try to get it about the same right there. And I'm going to do one in the center here like this. Kind of like a grid. And I'm going to go into face mode and select that face, and that face. Okay, that'll be kind of cool. And with those selected, I'm going to go Control E and move those down, and that'll kind of give us some interesting grid. There we go. Something like that would be kind of cool. And probably don't need it that deep. Let's just bring it down just a smidgen, just so we definitely have a difference there. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Just need something there. There we go. Cool. Alright, that looks good. Now we're going to keep the sides on this one because we can see inside that area there, and it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, that's okay. So we'll keep those. So there's our detail on that one. So we're going to take that guy and we're going to go into object mode, and we're going to go ahead and hit the Q key. And in translate Y, we're just going to hit 0 and bring that back up again. So this is what it looks like together. It works out really well. Look at that. You can see that really works nice. Alright, so the next piece. That piece is finished. Then the next piece we need to look at is this center column piece. And this is very interesting because this still has to be separated. But it's really up to you what you'd like to do with that, because it's kind of hidden. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in here, and I am going to give you guys quite a bit of artistic freedom, except that I do want to see this shape, right? If you decide to do something different here, that's fine. I'm just showing you what I would do, but this structure has to be like mine. You see my structure here? I want it to be just like that. I don't want you to deviate from that. I want you to try to follow as close as you can. Again, you can deviate a little bit from this image. Okay? I'm excited. I want it to be yours though, right? So if you do something else other than this, that's fine. If you don't have a grid there, that's fine. If you don't have that detail there, that's fine. If you want to add your own detail, that's what I want you to do. I kind of want to give you more artistic freedom on this particular project, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing, okay? What I'm going to do. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Okay, so this one here pops out quite a bit. So I'm going to go to face mode and just go nuts on this one. This is going to be fun. So this is going to be pushed out quite a bit. It's going to be pushed out so much it might even go inside of this, and we may not be able to use this piece anymore. So I kind of have to look at it and see, well, what can we do? We have to have a top piece on it. Let's see how far we go with it. And I'm going to do Control E. I'm just going to use the arrow for now, okay, to bring that out. And then I can shape it any way I want, within reason, you know. I kind of like the shape that this person has, so I'll go with that first. Okay. So with that said, now I'm going to start moving vertices around and get it shaped properly. There we go. And this is more straight ahead. Let's bring that out. I'm going to go to the side view. I think I'm going to get my grid snap working again so I can get that snapped properly. There we go. Alright. And then I'm going to move these back without the grid snap. There we go. And then, let's see, I'll take this down. There we go. Okay, so now I got it straight, like that. And now let's bring these two. I can't bring this one out, so I'm going to go in here and just add another edge loop somewhere in here. There we go. Hit the Q key and go into Vertex Mode and move that down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the grid snap again, just kind of get that moved down properly. Move that down properly. There we go. Just get that straight. And then select these guys here and let's move that out. There we go. Alright, so I may not want to go that far. Okay. So this kind of helps divide the pieces up, and what I'll probably do is, I still don't like the way that looks, right? I probably have to bring these down like that, so we have a, yeah, that looks a little bit better. And then let's bring this whole thing in a little bit like that. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we still follow these pieces. Okay. Let's go in a little bit more with this. There we go. Okay, that's looking better. Maybe out a little bit more here. Up a little bit here. And just kind of get it the way you want it. Now, because I want you guys to have artistic freedom, I'm also going to do some interesting work in here. I don't like how plain that is. So there's a couple things I want to actually create and put into it. I think would be kind of fun and interesting. So I'm going to add edge loops. And again, I want you guys to create your own, you know, pieces. Let's cut this up a little bit, like that. Hit the Q key, and I'm going to go into face mode here. I do like this part right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So in this piece right here, I do like what the concept artist did here with this piece. I'm going to pull that in. There's also a part in here that is pulled in too as well. I think that's really interesting to look at. So let me kind of get that in there too as well. So as I look at this, sometimes there's some things I like to do. Go into this edge loop tool, and let's just get out of the way. Alright, so now I'm going to click on this guy here and break this up a little bit right here, like that, and there's some detail I want to add in here. Okay. Okay. Click on that. Maybe another. Okay, so now I'm going to add the detail that I want to put in here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add this. Then I got a piece right here. There we go. And there's the piece at the bottom that I can see there is kind of cool, that I kind of like that. Then I got this piece right here. That goes up to the side here like this. That I'm going to push in. I think that's kind of cool. And do that to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. Did that bring all the way? Yeah, that goes all the way over too. That's kind of cool. Kind of like that. And then just follow that one line up again like that. And up and around like that. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks pretty cool. Alright, make sure I don't have anything else selected. That kind of like looks like it's like going in and out, flickering. That flickering is because I have two faces on top of each other. If you move your perspective view around your model and you see that, that means that you have two faces on top of each other. And they're overlapping. So you gotta fix it. And because I know they're two different pieces, I'm okay. So I'm gonna go Control E and just use the arrow, push it in. Isn't that cool? That's very cool. I love that. Okay. and I'm going to take a look at it. I'm not going to go too far, just keep it really simple. Whoops. Looks like I lost it. Let me look at this. Yeah. So I'm going to go Control E again and try it again. And not too deep. Okay. Right, something like that would be fine. That looks good. And I missed one over here, so I'm going to go back. Alright, back one more time. There we go. Control E, there we go. And move that back a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now I'm going to right click over it and go to selection mode. Alright, so there's my detail I have in that piece. Okay, that looks pretty good, I like that. The only part that is flickering and having an issue is this part right here, so I'm going to click on face mode and just click on this face right here. Get rid of that. Okay. Oh, hello. It looks like I got some pieces back here. You got to be super careful when you're extruding, and I wasn't. So let me try that again. Yep, and you can't have anything in the back because it will really mess you up. Any spots that you're not sure of, just double check everything. Let's try that again. And let's go ahead and bring it in just a little bit like that. And that should do it. Click off, just double check everything. And we'll go back here. And we'll go to the face and click on that face and delete it. Okay. And you'll notice, and I got to be very, very careful what I deselect here. Okay. So let's go back in here, do that again. Hit the delete key there. I think nope, I got that piece again. I got a piece right here that I want to keep. If I do delete it, I do have to make a cut all the way in the back here, all the way around the object, okay, and connect it, because this piece right now is kind of problematic, right? And we have to be super careful with that. So a lot of times it's probably good not to get too close to that edge. So let's go back. Let's kind of think about this a minute. And that's going to be a problem with that. So what I'm going to do is to fix that, or I want to do all this, is that, let me do one thing here. Let's go back a little bit farther. So I don't want to actually extrude it accidentally. Is add another edge loop right close to that edge so we don't go all the way to the end. So I'm going to add another edge loop right here. Okay, that should do it. And then we'll do the same thing as what we had before. Okay, where we pushed everything in from the top like that. I think that's it. Yeah, yep. All the way down and left that piece right here. Okay, and then we're going to do this piece that goes up and kind of goes like this. There we go. So you can see that. Let's do the same thing over here. Goes up and around, except it doesn't go that far over. And I went too far. So I'm going to get rid of these two guys right here. And I need to go up a little bit. There we go, like that. Okay. Just make sure we're both even on that. And then we need to get rid of these. Again, you can see that it goes right through. Okay. So it looks like I got it. And Control E one more time. Okay, push it in. You can see it's working really, really well. And we're far enough away that it won't cause any issues on this side. So that looks good. And then click off, and we can add a little more detail to that pillar if we want to. Go to face mode, click off the face, and let's do a couple more things in here. Add a little more detail to it. Just for fun, I'm going to go into edge loop mode and go into here and add edge loop here. Go in here like that. There we go. And we're going to go up into here, click on that guy, that's this one, and I think that looks good. I like that. And that will be popped out by itself, so I'm going to do just make sure I don't have anything else selected. Okay, there we go, that looks good. And we're going to go and do, we're going to push that in. Yeah, I think that, let's push that in. And let's do Control E and push that in. And this time we're going to make that a little deeper, and then we're going to kind of scale that in and scale that in like that. So we get that kind of, that really cool looking detail right there. That's kind of break that up a little bit, and then we're going to take this guy right here and do the same thing. Now I know he doesn't have it on here, but that looks a little bit plain, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little more of myself into this, which I think is fine. That's what I want you guys to do too as well. So Control E, push that in about the same depth as you had before, just kind of guess, and then scale it in this way and scale it in this way, and that makes for some interesting looking detail you see here. Look at that, pretty cool. Alright, so that's all I'm going to do with that piece.